Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm from Northern Virginia. I usually play with the Nova crowd. I usually play Orcs and Chaos Space Marines. That's pretty much it. The Nova crowd's pretty large, so we play with a pretty significant group. There's a smaller club around here, also called the Beltway Gamers, which we all participate in. Um, that's pretty much it. Success. So truth be told, I think I had more success with the Orcs at the beginning of the edition. However, I did pretty well with Chaos Space Marines. I had a Spawn Tide list, which placed, although I didn't get first or whatever, I placed pretty highly in a lot of events with it and did pretty well. Yeah, for a while. The list actually came from Eric and I had, well, Eric and I, Eric Hoger, sorry. We always go to Adepticon together, so every year we're looking for some sort of, hopefully, assault army, although this year it wasn't, to take to Adepticon because that's what we like playing. We want to drink, we want to be silly, play assault. So we decided to do Chaos Space Marines before the new book came out. And then we got the book and we were just like, oh, this is really bad. So we tried to figure out a way to make it work. And then we decided, okay, we'll give these spawns a try, basically. So we took them to Adepticon and it worked out decently. And I just kind of kept at it with the spawns. And I tried a bunch of different things before I settled on Black Legion allies. Originally, I was doing Chaos Space Marines with Demon allies, and I would take Plague drones along with them. And I took that to Nova, and they did pretty decently. But the problem is, Plague drones, the lords attach them. They don't have the same kind of output that the spawn do. They fill a nice gap, but they don't quite have the rest that you want. So I settled on Black Legion allies, basically just to take three really beat-faced lords into combat, because you take Abaddon or you take an instant deathing mace lord, that kind of thing, and three squads of spawn, and two of them are T6. It suddenly becomes really, really scary because they're hard to kill. Things like broadsides actually have to work a little bit at least to try to kill them. And you have so many wounds in the squad, and you have a lord who can tank at least a few wounds. It usually gets you into combat and does pretty well. So I settled on Black Legion allies, also because I wanted to bring Last in. That was something the Demon allies just didn't bring, and that was their big issue. Is there wasn't a lot of good Demon AP2 that was reliable at range. It just in general. I mean, CSM can bring that, and the Blitz don't do it quite so well. So Havoc's ended up being a really good buy-in from the Black Legion. So that's kind of where I went with that. I think Chaos Space Marines actually end up losing losing a bit, but there's a few gains. I mean, obviously the new psychic powers are pretty incredible. Crimson Slaughter came out at just the right time because they're going to be good. I expect to see more Crimson Slaughter and less CSM primary, maybe Crimson Slaughter with CSM allies, frankly, trying to take advantage of maximizing sorcerers and getting off demon summoning and that kind of thing. Um, that, hmm? Yeah. Oh, I was going to say Crimson Slaughter should have been that the stuff in Crimson Slaughter should have been in the original CSM decks because it actually makes sense. Giving it, getting a two up lord, having a few of these more really unique kind of demon weapons is a big deal. So I have to really play around with that. CSM does lose a bit. Spawn Tide actually, I was thinking CSM was going to be out simply because Imperial Knights and D weapons, but because of the changes to D weapons, Spawn Tide's still a very viable list. Spawn Tide's biggest threat, frankly, is no longer going to be on the board. Broadside spam is probably going to disappear, or if not disappear, it's going to be more rare, and that's one of the biggest threats that Spawn Tide has. It doesn't care so much about Wave Serpent armies because yeah, they can run away and stuff, but you have things to deal with Wave Serpents that are also scarier, so you can have enough threat saturation. So I think CSM will end up still being viable. especially if you're summoning things, which is really nice. Uh, Helldrakes, I think everyone's going to ask the Helldrake question. Helldrakes are still really good. Don't expect to say, oh, just because it's one hit on a vector strike, oh, they're worthless or whatever. Flamer's still really good, and I think they'll gain a lot too because drop pod Space Marines are now fantastic, and I'm expecting to see a lot of Space Marine and MSU come back into the game. So having a Helldrake flying around, nailing stuff, and still doing D3+1 to other flyers is really nice. So you still have a really nice anti-air and anti-marine weapon that's pretty decently hard to kill. So I think CSM, I mean, maybe it comes out average or a little behind, but not so bad. Assault is not as good, I actually think. Because of the -2 in the charge range, you're not going to have those crazy 12-inch assaults that you could pull off before with fleet. At least you had a stance. I mean, there's just literally no way to do it now. And as we discovered yesterday when we were doing a bunch of games, I mean, unless they FAQ it otherwise, I mean, you could literally have a 0 assault, right? If you need a 3 and you roll Snake Eye -2, it's like, oh, hey. Uh, yeah. Yeah, and it's actually really, really bad. So I think we lose out quite a bit on that. Uh, War gear and everything else wise, I think the Codex is going to hold up pretty well. The fact that tanks are more durable means you can start bringing back rhinos as transports and using them to bring in maybe noise marines, that kind of thing. But again, I mean, the problems with the book isn't really going to be related to the edition. It's going to be that things are overcosted point wise for what you get versus other more current books. So the things that worked though previously will continue to work. Spawn will continue to work. Beat face lords will continue to work. Oh, challenges and assaults will work much better now because of the bleed through. I would expect lords, close combat lords, to be really, really phenomenal, or just close combat weapons in general, because you don't have that issue of your beat phase demon weapon lord goes into combat and he gets challenged out, and then you're like, oh crap, I just lost 10 wounds. Nope, now those will spill onto the squad. That's huge. So, sorry, that is a cat. Uh, I would expect I mean, basically, you're going to get a lot better if you make it into combat and you have these demon weapons. You're going to do much better than you did in sixth edition, like way better. So you're going to have that trade-off. It's going to be a little harder to get there, but if you do, you're going to win much better because of the spillover. Sorry. Um, no, I don't think they gain much. I mean, if unless you wanted to take Comely Apocalypse and spam, nice shooty stuff and bring it in from Vanilla Marines, start bringing some Thunderfires and that kind of stuff. I don't really know if you gain much because you kind of want to. I mean, what you really need is long range AP2. That's what the book needs, and it needs to be cheap. So you need to figure out a way to bring that in. Havocs do it just fine. Bastions will suck now. So actually, the Bastion idea, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it looks like buildings have hull points. Yeah, but I mean, it's an armor 14 that's going to be very difficult to get a cover save building. I mean, it's going to stink. Hiding, you're going to need durable, shooty AP2. So that's going to be a thing. I haven't really investigated which allies can do that most efficiently. But as of the present, I don't think there's a lot to be gained from ally with everything. Because the stuff you wanted to ally with, you already could, and it hasn't much changed. But I'll have to check and revise. And obviously, when the Orc Codex comes out in a little bit, Orcs would be a good ally. I mean, if you're going assault, you have more assault if they happen to be good. So that might work out. But again, I mean, as I said, reiterate, CSM needs AP2 long range because they have to kill serpents and they have to kill the transports before you get into assault, so you don't just sit there and bang on vehicles or never catch them. And Havocs do it and other things do it just fine. Yeah. So, so, uh, so I've asked myself that same question for the last 3 years, 2 years, sorry. Um, I've tried every variant I can think of of Sea of Sam just to not play Spawn and make the Marines work, and I have yet to find one that actually works. I might do something that I tried early on that worked out pretty well is if you do Land Raiders and you take normal bros inside of it and just give them a corn mark or something, and then you put the beat face lords and the Land Raiders. Um, that actually works pretty well because a lot of people had a hard time killing Land Raiders, and now with the unlimited allies, I mean, you could take it's risky, but you could take a Dark Angel's Libby and have that power field going around it to make it a little more durable and roll forward and try to assault out because that's not too bad. I wouldn't recommend it though. I'd probably go a blitz. I'd probably spam a blitz because they're still really good. You get some nice range. I mean, the 2-up armor saves, everything there is still solid. Foot slogging CSM is bad, so I'd probably take some Rhino CSM and just MSU. I would, yeah, actually MSU Chaos Space Marines is probably pretty good. Just spam las cannons and take a blitz, and just count on the fact that they're going to have a really hard time killing, six rhinos, nine a blitz, and three Helldrakes, and go for that. Um, well, I'll say what I said when that first came out is that is a really bad build, and the reason is they don't have any damage output. No one's scared to wade into a bunch of zombies, even if they are fearless, and just pummel them to death. No, I don't think it's very good because their best benefit is that they're fearless and they have feel no pain. But there's so much strength 6 and strength 7 DACA out there, and you can get ignores cover super easy. There's no reason really to fear it, and the big names out there are still going to be Seer Council and Beast Star because they're the big winners of the change of to 7th edition, frankly, and they have no problem putting out enough wounds to kill zombie packs in assault. I mean, there's just no way they can. I don't think there's any way that that'll work out too well because you have slow moving T3 models that suck in combat, getting charged by something that's going to throw 60 or 70 attacks. I mean, uh, or even not say, even if it was only 20 or 30. I mean, yeah, okay, it's a round and a half of combat. It's not so good. Plus all the shooting. Yeah, I would say anyone who's going to play CSM, Spawn are still really good. Take your Helldrakes, take your Beat Face Lords, but try to figure out a way to bring one or two sorcerers. You need at least one, but definitely two, because you're going to need the power dice to close down invisibility. Invisibility is disgustingly good, and I would expect to see any assault army worth its salt using invisibility. So, one, you want to get invisibility, and two, you want to try to shut down someone else's invisibility because it's so retardedly good that I mean, I'm actually seriously contemplating banning it, or at least suggesting the ban of it because it is that good. Um, but yeah, you'll need a lot of dice for that, and so one or two sorcerers would be good. It's very cheap to get a level 3 sorcerer with CSM. I mean, dirt cheap, and they're solid, and you'll get a lot of benefits. Even if you don't get invis, you can always summon. You can summon guys. I mean, that's always good. Uh, that's my lead off. Yeah, yeah, sure. Thanks, guys.